Welcome to another edition of Between Two Great Lakes, a podcast by Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper. I'm Adam Zaremski. Now, New York is a Great Lakes state with Lake Erie and Lake Ontario bordering its western boundaries. We want to talk about and highlight all things related to that idea, as well as share things we are working on at Waterkeeper, such as important advocacy efforts, restoration projects, and fun things to do and explore along the Buffalo Blueway. Thanks for listening. Now onto the show. So today I'm with Claudia Rosen, Project Manager for Community Engagement at Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper. She is the point person for a community project to install a mural at Red Jacket Riverfront Natural Habitat Park in the city of Buffalo. Hi Claudia, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So this project that you're working on, it relates to Red Jacket Park, and that's off Smith Street in Buffalo?
Yes. Yep.
Can you describe Red Jacket Park for people who are unfamiliar with it?
Sure. Red Jacket Riverfront Park, it's one of my favorite parks in the city of Buffalo. It's an Erie County Natural Habitat Park. So it's a really cool space. It's kind of tucked away at the foot of Smith Street in between the Valley and the First Ward neighborhood. It's right along the Buffalo River. So when you drive into the park, you can see the concrete central grain elevator from across the river. You can see two train bridges. And it's just a really beautiful and historical space. It's been the site of years and years of habitat restoration work from Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper, from Erie County, and others that have been working on restoring the Buffalo River, bringing it back to life. And more recently, it's been the site of some public access improvement projects. So we're just continually putting some effort into this park, trying to make it a real community space for wildlife and for people.
And this is part of the Buffalo Blueway. These are sites along the Buffalo River where people can access it for fishing or paddle sports. Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper has been working on a lot of, I think there's 5 now at this point. Are there things that Waterkeeper has done to enhance the park over the years to get it ready for this Blueway?
Yeah, 100%. So the Buffalo Blueway project is one of the most recent projects that have been completed at the park. And that was really sort of a facelift for the park to give it some more accessible features for folks that come to visit. One of the biggest things that we did is we upgraded a paddle sport launch. So to get a kayak or a canoe down to the Buffalo River, that is now an upgraded launch, which is really nice, much improved from what it was. And we've also installed some new benches, some ADA accessible concrete along the walkways, so that it's just a nicer place to visit for folks. There's also much easier parking that was upgraded as well as a part of that Buffalo Blueway project. And with all the Buffalo Blueway projects, we install this little marker, this big sign that looks like a paddle sticking up in the air, so that if you're out on the Buffalo River, you know where you can get in and get out of the water, which is really important for safety.
Absolutely. Do you know what the park was like before the cleanup renovations took place?
Yeah, so this park has seen a lot through the years. Way back in the past, so at least 10, 15 years ago, the park was the site of some habitat restoration. And so that was really important to address some of the invasive species issues at the park. And that was a part of our Buffalo River restoration project. Folks might know that the Buffalo River is an area of concern, which means that, unfortunately, it was one of the most polluted places in the Great Lakes, one of the most concerning, you could say, waterways in the Great Lakes. And so it was put on this list in 1987, and that's how our organization got started, was as the Friends of the Buffalo River to support that process and clean up the river. A part of that was a lot of habitat restoration work, working with partners like Erie County, like the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Department of Environmental Conservation from New York State. And so through that work and through working with all those different folks, scientists, ecologists, volunteers, that park has seen a lot of progress in terms of the habitat. There's a little wetland area that's along one of the trails, which actually last summer, to show you some of the changes that have been happening, we were leading a little walk there with some neighbors to the park, and we saw a beaver in that little wetland area. Yeah. It was so exciting. He was chewing on a little log and just like a really great sign of returning wildlife, just the habitat improvements. At the same time as the habitat is kind of continually improving, the public access pieces of the park really needed some care. Parking was not the best at that park, so that was upgraded. There also were some damaged benches, some damaged railings. So those were just all improved as a part of that Buffalo Blueway project.
So yeah, that's pretty impressive, and hearing that the wildlife's coming back in that fashion.
Yeah, 100%. I have seen some of the best wildlife at that park. The other day, I saw a common loon on the Buffalo River, which is really cool. Some people talk about, the loons they might see and hear in the Adirondack. To be there at the park, that this was in March, and bring out my binoculars and see the loon on the river. It was just really inspiring and hopefully a good sign for the park, for the river.
And so, I guess, continue with those enhancements to the park. Focus now is on the entrance along Smith Street,
Yes.
correct? When people are entering Red Jacket Park, what do they see now?
Yeah, great question. So when you enter the park, it's at the foot of Smith Street. So you kind of have to drive down Smith Street. You pass some neighborhoods, drive over some railroads, some railroad ties. And then as you're entering the park, it's kind of tucked away in this space between two old NFTA bridge abutments. So there are these big concrete walls that actually used to support a bridge that would go over the entrance to the park. Those abutments are the site of a past mural. So in my research, I found that mural was done at least prior to 2008. So it's been there for quite some time, and it is pretty degraded. So it needs some care. The paint is peeling. There was some graffiti, unfortunately, that was covered up just with plain gray paint. At this point, when you drive into the park, you're coming to see those beautiful new park enhancements. And what you see when you enter is some pretty degraded murals on those abutments as you're driving in. Our vision with the mural is to kind of continue the process of improving the park, making it a welcoming and accessible space by updating those murals and making them beautiful.
Yeah, so now you have this, it's kind of a community seeking input on what people want, because that's part of Waterkeeper's mission, is making sure when you're doing these projects, making sure it fits with what the community in the area is going to be dealing with all the time. So we've got a form out there seeking people to fill out, give ideas. How large is it going to be? Do we have some thoughts on what it might look like, and who's going to do it?
Our thoughts really came from initial conversations with community members. We've been working along this river and in these communities for many years, so I'm really lucky to know many people that actually live right near the mural. So we've gotten some initial ideas from those folks about what they would like to see, but our call right now is really to everyone who lives near the mural, who works or just visits Red Jacket Park. We would love to hear from you as to what you would like to see. We've got the survey you mentioned. It's up on our website. It's a Google form, so it should be pretty easy for folks to fill out. And there's questions on there that just ask about things like, what makes you feel connected to this community? What makes you feel connected to the park? And then there's also more specific questions like, what exactly would you like to see? What themes? As well as some questions on art styles. So there's some pictures of some local Buffalo murals, and we ask people who fill out the survey, what's your favorite? What style do you like? And that way we're really hoping to get as much input as we can from the community, make sure everyone's voice is heard, because this is going to be a big change, right? To the entrance to the park. In conjunction with the survey, we also have a call for artists that is now out in the world, and we're seeking a muralist. So if you are listening to this podcast and you know a muralist, please encourage them to apply. There's all kinds of details as to the specific scope of work and the project. You asked about what size the mural is going to be.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we're seeking input on, both from the community as to what they would like to see, as well as from the muralist. And so the decision on the exact scope is going to be made sort of in conjunction with the selected muralist, Waterkeeper, as well as NFTA, who owns these walls, these abutments.
And the NFTAs, they've given their approval, like the mural's everyone wants to see this cleaned up and make it look nicer. So this is a process involving several groups.
Yep.
When you're down at Red Jacket, who do you see using the park? Is it a lot of people coming in from out of the area, do you think? Or is it the locals?
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of different types of people. When I'm down at the park, often I see people walking their dogs, so locals or people who are visiting. We've often taken students there. It's a really great spot. We've had some awesome lessons and events where we bring Buffalo Public School students or visiting students down to do things like water quality testing or walk on the trails and check out some plants. And also because I love birds, I've been there many, many times just to look for birds, and I've seen a lot of other birders there as well.
So the common loon was something you saw recently. Is there something else that when you got there you didn't expect to see?
I don't know if I didn't expect to see it, but I was so excited. I have seen some really great warblers in springtime. They're the tiny, colorful birds that often get here early to mid-May. Some of them nest here, but some of them just migrate through. I've had a couple days at the perfect time in May at Red Jacket and just seeing many different species of warblers, which is always like the best.
Is there a time frame for how long people can submit their ideas for this mural?
Yeah, I'd request that folks submit their ideas by April 30th. That is also when our call to artists for the application, those are also due on April 30th. I encourage folks to fill that survey out as soon as you hear this. And also folks can contact me. My email's up on our website. If you have additional ideas and you'd like to chat about this project, please send me an email. If it's after April 30th and you're hearing about this, you can still send me an email. I'd still love to hear your thoughts.
Is there a time frame for this, for when once maybe the muralist is selected and ideas are out there, is there a time frame for getting things moving?
So our goal is to get the artists selected at the beginning of May, and then we're going to work with them to sort of incorporate the community's ideas as we've sort of finalized our survey into their design. And then the goal is to get the mural installed by the end of August.
It's pretty exciting and quick too, so that'll be a nice addition. They might see the work going on during the summer.
Totally, yeah. Tail end of the water season, you'll be able to hopefully drive by that mural and see the new beautiful addition into the fall, yeah.
So how is this being funded?
This project is made possible with funds from the Expanding Access to Arts funding in Western New York. It's a re-grant program of the New York State Council on the Arts with support of the Office of the Governor and the New York State Legislature and administered by the Cullen Foundation.
There's a lot of groups involved in this.
Right. Yeah, it's really exciting. I think art and community projects like this is something that we can all come together on and work together on, and it's just exciting to be a part of.
Anything else for Red Jacket on the horizon?
We're working with Erie County to begin a group of volunteers. And we've realized that people feel very connected and that is a really good space to come together and to be good stewards for this habitat restoration and for these parks, thinking about the future of the Buffalo River. And so here at Red Jacket, there's a group that we've sort of put out there on Facebook, and we also have an email listserv that we're calling the Friends of Red Jacket. And we're working to sort of coalesce people that live near the park, that visit the park, and that want to be a part of stewardship in the future for the park as the Friends of Red Jacket. Yeah, we're really looking forward to kind of getting that group together. We are going to be volunteering together for the spring sweep on April 22nd. So Red Jacket Riverfront Park is a site. I will be there. I will be there leading the cleanup.
That's a good plug for that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Come meet me. Come say hi. And then we've got also other exciting things planned later in the summer. Just again, bringing that friends group together at the park, meeting each other, talking about stewardship, and doing some fun activities.
So again, if people want to learn more, they can go to bnwaterkeeper.org/mural. And that's where some documentation is for the artists to download, and the people can fill out the Google form. And any other information, if you want to reach out to Claudia, her email contact is there. Well, thank you very much, Claudia. We're looking forward to the new mural, the painting, everything down there. It's going to be an exciting summer for you.
Yeah, it's going to be a great summer. Thanks for having me.
So I want to remind people that while we obtain grant funding for projects, donations from people are another huge resource to allow us to keep going forward with our mission of protecting and restoring shorelines and waterways while hopefully expanding what we do. Anything you can give to Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper is huge and helps us out. So go to our website, bnwaterkeeper.org/donate to make a contribution. And again, thanks to local Buffalo band Snowbelt for the music today. They have a new album out, Norris Avenue. You can find that on all the streaming services. We'll have more editions of the show on the way. Subscribe to Between Two Great Lakes to keep up to date with what we're up to. That's all for today. Be well and do good.